Okay, we are ready for flight number 4 on our converted chuck glider. So far, I have been pretty darn happy with the way this project has turned out. Okay. Very little wind out here right now. Alright, launching. Okay, that was 45% throttle on that launch. And we're in beginner mode. Full stabilization mode. Okay, now we are in wind mitigation mode. Okay, so I adjusted the differential on my rolls again. First I had too little to the left, too much to the right. And then it was too much to the left, too little to the right. So let's see if we have hit the Goldilocks zone here. Still have a good roll rate to the left. Slow down a little bit. Back off the throttle, Tony. Don't need that much throttle to cruise. Alright, let's check it to the right. Almost there. That's much more symmetrical than what it was. I'm going to have to take out a little more of the differential out of the left-hand side. I think I've got it at 12% right now. I think I'll kick it down to about 8 and see what that does, because the roll rate to the left is outstanding. Yeah, so if I can cut that down just a tick and give it to the right-hand side where they're symmetrical, I think this is going to have an awesome roll rate in both directions. Not a problem. There's about 75% throttle for that loop. And that awesome. Stay out of the sun. Plenty of rudder for turns. I'm using mostly rudder there. So I am glad that I extended that rudder. That was pretty slow, wasn't it? I don't know what I'm at right now on the throttle setting, but it is pretty low. Got a little twitch out of it there. It goes a little too slow in the turn. Either that or it hit some wind. But not bad, not bad at all. Rotates with the rudder nicely in the roller coaster turns. I like it a lot. Do a loop. Split S. Get up there with the bird. Isn't that awesome? And we got somebody coming on a four-wheeler and a dirt bike. Man, have I had a lot of traffic out here this morning, guys. I am telling you. I've run a lot of circuits. I'm working hard to keep my throttle setting below 50%, but that is difficult for me. Okay. I've never seen anyone ride a four-wheeler and a dirt bike that slow, but they're finally through. How about that power off the throttle? I am always happy. I am always happy when a project turns out better than I had expected, and this one definitely turned out better than I expected, and I was extremely surprised at how little tuning I've had to do to this, you know, how little trimming work that I've had to do to it. And the CG that I had, well, and I really couldn't change it all that much with this battery. I was very fortunate that the CG was as close as it was with these heavier motors on it, because I've got my battery all the way back. You know, I can't move my battery back any further. And I just have about a 1 millimeter of up trim on the elevator to maintain its altitude, straight and level flight. I think if I had had those 1306 motors on there, well, I'll tell you about that in a few. Let's see if we can bring it in for a landing. That was a nice landing. I think that was my best landing yet. Okay, so let's see how much juice we got left in the battery. I wasn't very easy on it during that flight. Let me see here. I have to get up here out of the sun so I can see what the timer says, but we were obviously over the timer. I had my timer set for 5 minutes. I'm launching this at 45% throttle. So 33 seconds over, so 5 minutes and 33 seconds on that flight. Let's see how much juice we've got left in the pack. I like to test these after every flight, especially when I'm pushing it a little bit harder just to make sure. Alright, let's see if we can see it. 7.4 for the pack, 3.7, 3.7, 3.7. Yeah, that's not too bad at all, is it? 5 minutes and what I say, 33 seconds. Still had over 3.7 volts per cell. I like to land with about a minimum of 3.6 volts, so I could easily get 6.5 minutes. Somewhere between 6 to 7 minutes. Somewhere between 6 to 7 minutes of flight time out of this, leaving 3.6 volts per cell, doing mixed mode flying. Alright, so I'll meet you back at the hangar, and I'll let you know what adjustments I've made to it so far. I'm going to try and put a couple more test flights on it. I like everything so far, except for the amount of roll rate now that I that I have to the right. So I've got to back off my differential a little bit more, and then I think I'll have it. So see you back at the hangar.
Okay, that went very, very well. I'm so happy with this plane, this project. What I was talking about out there with the 1306 motors. The 1306 motors are 10 grams lighter between the two, 5 grams lighter each. That would be a weight savings of 10 grams on the front of this motor if I could have used the 1306 motors rather than the 2004 motors. So I think that if I had the 1306 motors on here and lighten that front of the wing up by 10 grams, I think I'd be able to put my battery, just not all the way back, most of the way back, but not all the way back, and I think I would be able to put my elevator in a completely neutral position instead of having about a 1 millimeter positive trim on it, since it is slightly nose heavy, but nowhere near what I thought it was going to be, and it's flying absolutely fantastic. And you can see that the fact that it's a little nose heavy has not prevented it from being extremely maneuverable. So I'm real happy with that. Now what I did was, I knew I was going to be nose heavy with these motors, and so when I installed my rudder servo and my elevator servos, I installed them about as far back as I could get them to give me some counterbalance. And so I knew that if it was too nose heavy, I would rather a plane like this be nose heavy than tail heavy, because it would take very, very little weight on the very end of that tail, ballast weight, to get this at a neutral CG, rather than trying to put it on the nose if it was tail heavy. So that was the best way to do it. I'm happy with everything on the setup so far, except for the symmetrical roll rate. I'm so close. I'm so close. It's still just slightly slower to the right than it is to the left. So I'm hoping next time out, you know, I'm going to adjust that again. I'm hoping next time out I'll be in that Goldilocks zone where it rolls just as fast to the right as it does to the left. And the roll rate in both directions is really good. And then I think I'm going to be pretty much golden on the setup on this glider. So as soon as I can get that, you know, that's the last thing really I've got to do to this aircraft. Everything else seems fine. As soon as I get that symmetrical roll rate to the left and the right, cutting that differential back just a little bit from where it is right now on the ailerons, I think I'm going to be golden. I won't have any complaints about the setup once I get the roll rate where I want it. So once that happens, I will go ahead and publish my setup in my OpenTX model file for anybody that wants to do that. I haven't physically measured my new CG yet on this plane, but it looks like it's about, if I had to guess, I would say it was about 5 millimeters forward of where it was when I first took it outside, when it was just a chuck glider. And I took one of the ballast weights out of the canopy and just left one ballast weight in it and got a nice, smooth, flat glide out of it. I'm about 5 millimeters forward of where that CG was, but I'm also not, I'm also a little nose heavy. So if I had the weight on this neutral, it wouldn't have been so far forward. But I'll measure that and let you know exactly where the CG is on this too in my setup file. And then, of course, everything will be in all the setup, dual rate, differential, all that stuff will be in the OpenTX model file. So anyway, I'm looking forward to taking it back out again. I don't think it's going to take more than 2 more flight sessions at the most, or 2 more test flights at the most to get this golden on the setup. I'm real happy with everything. So anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for test flight 5. I think we're ready for 5. Is that right? I don't know. Somewhere around there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.